biggest myth that all NRIs are rich and everybody has, luxurious life here. Biggest challenge, I would say, that raising kid abroad, it is not easy. We do not have extended family and you have to create your own support system. I really don't think that financial shock anybody has suffered if they had done proper diversification and allocation. In today's scenario, considering all that we are seeing in macro, I would say that you have to pay extreme attention to asset allocation and diversification. So, the strategies multi asset investment in multi currency and in multi geography. Do not trust one currency, do not trust one single asset class, do not trust one single state. You have to spread it across.
Everyone thinks NRI life is glamorous. What's the biggest myth about living abroad?
Yes, this itself is the biggest myth that all NRIs are rich and everybody has, luxurious life here. Let me tell you, by taking the example of Dubai, many people have this paycheck to paycheck lifestyle here. So, not everything is glamorous here, luxurious here. I have seen, many people combined income, husband and wife's earning, combined income I'm talking about, they are able to take only 15 to 18,000 dirham, which is actually required. As even to meet basic things here, let's say that you are staying in one bedroom house or you have two kids and they are going to normal CBSE school, even then you need this 15 to 18,000 as a base cost to survive here in Dubai. But back home, what they think that everybody is super rich. It's not the case.
Do you think NRIs in Dubai are more connected to India compared to US and UK NRIs?
Of course, yes, Shubham. There are two reasons. First one is geographical proximity. Of course, you take flight and in 3 hours you are going to land up. That is one biggest advantage. Many people prefer to stay in Dubai for this reason. Second, if you think about the cultural exposure, the environment here, we have a lot of Indian. So the Indian festivals, you don't miss anything. Indian food, the kind of restaurants, the area where I'm staying, I can say that at least 30 to 40 very good South Indian, North Indian restaurants you can find the best of, maybe rasgullas or the pani puri. And we don't miss any festival, be it Navratri, be it Deepavali, be it everything. So it's more Indianized, I would say that you will find more Indianness here than any other big metros in India.
What's one struggle of NRI life that nobody back home really understands?
So, Shubham, I will break it down in two parts. The first part is the biggest challenge, I would say, that raising kid abroad, it is not easy. We do not have extended family and you have to create your own support system, which is not so easy to find the reliable one also, the care and concern. That you can have back home in India, and it is very expensive. Take the example of Dubai or even take the example of UK. The childcare expense, it's really really high here. And if you want to give the cultural exposure or the values that you have it in mind, it is not going to be easy here. So that is one thing. Second, financial aspect to that. So here, what is the challenge? You see, let's take the example of US. The person who has moved in early 2000 would have made really great wealth there. He would have gone up in the career ladder. So US probably was the best place to be for his life. But now if you take the example of those who have completed their masters, or bachelors or gone there to do the masters, they are facing a lot of visa uncertainty and job disruption because of AI, and inflation is crazily high. So when the person who is doing US might relocate to Canada or to Australia or somewhere else later. So whenever he changes this geographies, right, he has to understand that all the financial planning that he has done in the past, that will have tax implication. It's not easy to navigate. You would have invested something in physical real estate or even the retirement account, so you are going to leave it as it is there and then you will move to another country, right? So how tax impacts, even when you are doing retirement planning, right from the basic planning, you have to consider inflation, which is crazily high and which is changing. As I said earlier, in 2000, in 2000, the NRIs who were in US, they were lucky enough to see the kind of growth in terms of career and the salary, whatever the opportunities that US had given at moderate level of inflation. And now if you see, it is really really high. Even in UK it is high. So he has to consider a lot of job disruption, uncertainty in the future, and then do this retirement planning or financial planning and understand inflation, which is changing like anything nowadays, as well as the tax.
NRIs often say, I earn abroad. India can't tax me. How true is that?
Oh, this is the biggest myth, I would say. See, for FEMA, you can say that the minute my visa has arrived, or I have decided to go out of India seeking employment, some business opportunities, not to return to India, you have become NRA. But if you would have observed in COVID also, many people were, taxed for their global income, overseas income, because they were resident of India for taxation purpose. So just because you are outside or your job is tied to some foreign country or foreign company, doesn't mean that you will not be having any obligation in India. Let's say that you are setting up a business with your family or a friend, then of course India is going to tax you. You ended up staying there exceeding certain number of days, of course India is not going to leave you, so you will have tax obligation. So it's just not that your visa or your passport belongs to some other country, you have no connection with India, or no tax obligations or any kind of compliance obligations towards India. It can come.
So moving forward, what do you think? Like, what's the single biggest mistake, tax mistake NRIs keep making year after year?
I would say that it is not one mistake, it is multiple mistake. Let's say that many people still have their normal saving banks account linked to their demat, and they feel that chalo, it's okay, we are going to correct it whenever we are visiting India, and they keep postponing that. You please understand that compliance cost to keep everything in order as per the regulation, it might feel like a headache, but if the non compliance cost it comes in your life, no, it would be really really hefty. Let's say that FEMA, it is mostly three times the penalty you are going to face. And I have also seen many NRIs saying that I'm going to buy small piece of agricultural land, and it is not going to make big problem, right? So it's not the case. In case if the system flags you when you are registering the plot, and in case, because I would say most of the state department, they do not favor, they're very very strict in this matter. So in case if you are flagged, then again you have to approach for compounding, and again it's a serious offense. So right from not keeping track of basic things like 182 days of stay in India to maintain NRI status, they do a lot of mistakes. So it is not one single mistake, I would say it is multiple.
Now, moving forward, like if NRI doesn't pay taxes properly in India, what's the worst case scenario you have seen?
Okay, see, you cannot afford to conceal the income, and you should not underreport it. And the simple case also, Shubham, once we saw a case where an NRI had kept nearly a crore, crore of Indian rupees in NRE, non-resident external account, which is actually tax exempt. Nobody should send notice, but unfortunately, in his case, it happened that the system had sent the notice, and he did not bother to reply. He wouldn't have checked, or he would have ignored, or he would have thought, why should I reply, because it is NRE. But then it led to ex parte proceeding. When it goes to that stage, then rectifying this error is not easy. So if they would have filed the tax filing, they would have done the tax filing, then everything is in their favor, right? You are just declaring and you're keeping the record in the income tax department that bhai, I am NRI. So you are not voluntarily walking into such traps.
So, how important is the concept of RNOR, resident but not ordinary resident, and why do so many miss it?
Yes, because I think people have this perception that either you are an RI or you are an ordinary resident. So there is this transitionary phase of RNOR. Most of the people do not understand. So they just see it as white and black. Either you are non-resident or resident. But this is a beautiful phase. This is a golden period which allows you to keep everything in record, and to do some compliance issues. Let me say that if you are an NRI, you have to do KYC. In the bank record, in your all investment that you have done as NRI. So this is the time if you are really serious of going back to India and settling down there, and you are very sure that your tax status is going to be not, I mean, from NRI to ordinary resident, then you have to change your KYC. You have to update. Let's say that you have been holding your NRI NRO account. This is the time where you will keep the funds which is required to be held in foreign currency. Let's say maybe for your children education and all. So you have to move from NRE to RFC and then close it down. NRE you close it and then convert NRO to normal SB account. All the investment, update your KYC. And let's say even RNO are so important. Let's say one NRI is living in US and he has come back to India, and he would have of course had some investment in 401k, that is their retirement account, right? So this is the phase before slipping into last phase of ordinary resident. He has to file under section 89A, saying that look, I'm going to be I have come to India, and he has to uh, file a particular form to defer the taxation. Otherwise, what would happen in 401k in US? They would be taxed at the time of withdrawal, that is after their 59 and half years. If it does not file, then there will be mismatch, and India will start filing on accrual basis. As and when it is accruing, then he will be taxed. Every year he will be taxed. So these are the things that you have to take care of. If you are not aware, then you have to consult any professional for that, seeking help. How do you keep everything in order before you become resident? So this is a golden opportunity. This phase of roughly 1 to 3 year is in your favor, where you decide. Even when an NRI wants to come to India, maybe it is a testing period for him, where he will understand whether I have to liquidate or whether I can comfortably retire in India and I don't have to go back. So how much you have to liquidate overseas investment that has been made for, how much of the overseas investment you have to liquidate or how much you have to retain. Every decision has to be done in this time. So this is of course a golden window which is available for all returning NRIs.
As you are living in Dubai, so what do you think? Do NRIs in tax-free countries like Dubai really have an advantage, or is it just an illusion?
It's not at all an illusion. See, let's say the example of UK, right? UK has changed its taxation in 2025. Now onwards, that will be taxing everybody on the global income. And the taxation is so high. Inflation is already high, and your take home, it suffers 18 to 40% taxation. Now consider the inflated cost there. What is left out in terms of saving? Look, this country, maybe it is a kind of, you have to pay fee for everything, maybe for starting your own business, everything. That is a license cost. But if you understand the take home, the size of that saving, if you want to save, see how much you want to spend here, how much you want to save. Ultimately, it is an individual decision. But at least in Dubai, you get to take this kind of lion share, right, into your pocket. So I would say that when you compare Dubai NRI to any of UK or US, where there is 15 to 40% of tax bracket, he's at least 5 years ahead of them in terms of saving, if he wants to save. And look, another example, it's not an illusion. You would have seen many videos where, you know if you are investing in Indian mutual funds, and other than Bahrain, if you are a tax resident of any other Gulf country other than Bahrain, because there is a provision which allows them, all the investors, whoever has invested in Indian mutual fund, to make capital gain completely zero. So what is required? Now think, it's a high growth asset, right? If an NRI comes to Dubai, he decides to build X amount of corpus, maybe it is 3 CR or 5 CR. He has an opportunity to reach his goal faster. First of all, your take home salary is high. Second, you are investing in a high growth asset. Third, when you are exiting, if you are sitting here, if you are still tax resident, you are literally making it zero. Where do you get this kind of investment vehicle where high growth, no taxation? So it is not illusion. It is really, it is blessing to be here, I would say.
As you have mentioned about mutual funds, so I want to ask, if you had to give one golden investment tool for NRI, what would it be?
Yes. Um, in today's scenario, considering all that we are seeing in macro, I would say that you have to pay extreme attention to asset allocation and diversification. So the strategies: multi asset investment in multi currency and in multi geography. Do not trust one currency, do not trust one single asset class, do not trust one single state. You have to spread it across. It depends. It is completely case specific. Wherever the comfort lies, wherever you feel that you get growth and stability, mix it up and make a basket combination of these and go for multi asset and multi currency. Many of the NRIs still think that it is only USD which is going to thrive even in the next decade. It may not be true, because if you see the graph, yes, now INR is depreciating, but USD is also losing its value against a basket of other currencies. So, when you consider many of the macro factors, you might see more depreciation in USD. So, if you are putting everything in only USD linked products, then you are really, really looking at very bad scenario, when the situation gets materialized. So, spread it across, pay attention to diversification. It's multi asset, multi currency, and multi states.
When we are talking about investments, real estate is the go-to for many NRIs. Is it a smart wealth?
Now, do not consider me anti real estate. I am not anti real estate, but I love liquid asset and I love high growth assets, and I really, really prefer to have flexibility in my life. With this, I will start. See, in wealth generation, you have to bifurcate this. Where are you in your life? Are you in wealth accumulation stage or stabilization stage? So let's say that you wanted to make your 5 crore or 7 crore, 10 crore. Chalo, like your goal is fulfilled. Then you are in that stability period, right? At that time, if you're moving towards gold or real estate or anything, it makes much more sense. Now, if you're in a wealth building stage and you are diverting your attention away from equity, then in long horizon, more than 10 years, you will regret a lot. I would think that it is a lifestyle decision, it is not an investment decision.
Investment again, like FDs, mutual funds, stocks, or global investments. What's the smartest portfolio mix for NRI?
There is no one size fit all solution in this case. Every asset class has its own value and place in terms of where they stand in the I said no wealth accumulation or stability stage. See, when a person starts his journey, he should start with FT. Without opportunity fund, without emergency fund, one cannot go. See, look, even in FD, we consider that first at least 6 months you have to cover your basic expense and you have to lock it in FD. You do not have to expect any kind of return on that. That gives you a lot of mental peace. It is something, a cushion, to fall back upon if something really, really volatile situation emerges. So, emergency fund is must. What is more safe than FD here? So, that is in case of FD. And even let's say that you have excess money, maybe you got bonus or something, and you think that market might fall, or some other opportunity might come within 1 2 years, then you can also lock it up in FD as an opportunity fund. So these two aspects you can look at FD. And then when you talk about mutual fund, yes, I have seen many people, they think that they are getting huge profit, but profit and wealth, they are two different aspects. So when you are taking this CAGR, you will understand that most of the time you are not able to beat the index unless you have the time to track and you are an expert in stock picking. So if you are busy, occupied with your own, business or any kind of job which demands most of the time, then I would really recommend somebody to go for mutual fund. Somebody, more knowledgeable, it is research based, right? More knowledgeable than you is taking care of all the asset allocation on your behalf. You have to trust their judgment. And even the tax efficiency in their structure, it is very high. See, if you are compounding something at 11% and if you are compounding something at 17%, this 5, it looks really, really small when your asset size is small. Okay, as and when the asset base it becomes bigger and bigger, this 2, 3, 4%, you cannot really, really, digest the fact that you have lost so much of money. So either you are an expert and you have time, otherwise just simply close your eyes and go for mutual fund. This is a growth strategy. I wouldn't say that everybody loves to be in equity. Equity may not suit the risk appetite of all, but diversify. You want, you want some hybrid fund. You can bring the diversification within mutual fund, right? So till you hit the corpus that is required, you need to look equity. And then, yes, whatever you have said, be it gold, be it real estate. So which stage you are actually crossing in this wealth generation journey, you have to go through that. Every asset has its own value. I wouldn't say that at 50 somebody has made good amount of money, and I wouldn't tell him you don't buy real estate. If he really wants to enjoy, that is a lifestyle decision. It is his money. He has to enjoy, right? Why do we earn money? We have to see life also, right? If somebody wants to spend on international travel, yes, spend it after making enough provision. You know that something goes wrong with your job or anything, then you are covered adequately. So make your planning, then go step by step. So everything, there is no, I mean, it depends. For a 20-year-old, maybe mutual fund is very high. For a 50-year-old, maybe other assets take place there. Debt, everything, right?
As we see, like many people are trying to return back to India. So in that aspect, I want to ask, do you recommend NRIs to keep investment abroad or consolidate in India if they plan to return?
They have to take this decision at the time of returning. And for returning NRIs, there is this golden window RNOR. So, this 1, 2, 3 year, whatever you are having, depending on the number of the days, it gives you an idea whether you can adjust culturally, socially in India or not. So, when you're very sure that yes, India is a place, because see, inflation is moderate in India, it is not so high. And healthcare access, it is not difficult. You have best of best medical facilities, doctors, everything there, right? So that is possible. And after recent budget, and if somebody is getting interest income, let's say he can match it, right? Dividend interest up to 12 lakhs. Husband and wife together, 12 plus 12, 24 lakhs, one can have comfortable life. So that he can make a stable baseline source of income for him. And then still, if he can afford to see the volatility, he can keep rest of the things in equity. He can retire happily, comfortably. And not only access to healthcare, I would say a whole support system. You want a driver. See, if you have infrastructure problem, then if he can have afford to have a driver, then keep a driver, listen to podcast and travel. So this is a place where your retirement corpus, it is not getting depleted faster. It has direct relationship with the inflation, right? So if you are retiring in a high cost country, maybe in India you might be looking at a figure like 7 crore or something. If you go to the high cost base, then you might need 20 to 30 crores. So it has, that effect. So India is still favorable destination for many because they can stretch that corpus that they have created, and they can create their own retirement, comfortable retirement life also.
Moving forward, I want to ask, before moving back, what are the top three financial steps every NRI must take?
First one, understand the compliance aspects, as I have mentioned, be it simple KYC or closing your NRE account and deciding how much you have to keep it in RFC account. These are all basic compliance aspects, okay? One has to pay attention to. Second one, have an idea that how much you want to withdraw as a retirement expense, and look at the asset allocation, how much you can support from the steady sources like FD interest, or the real estate rental income if you have built already, and how much you are comfortable to keep it in equity. So you should have an idea, this is the amount that I'm going to take it out. And are you having good coverage of health insurance? This is also must when you are returning. And estate planning, you cannot afford to ignore. If somebody has decided that I want to retain certain assets, be it financial assets, maybe your own stock portfolio or a house, then they have to pay attention to this estate planning, because the rules significantly change when you become resident of India, when you become non-resident for that country. To elaborate this, let me tell you, if you are a US returning NRI and you have house worth of few millions, okay, and other investments also, and you decide not to liquidate because you want to continue holding it. Now, after returning to India, there are two aspects which are very, very important. One, you should have a proper estate planning and have a structure to hold those assets, because the estate law keeps the upper limit of $60,000 in case if something goes wrong with, if in case of death of primary holder, God forbid, if something like that happens, then the dependents can take only up to $60,000 from his US investments unless and until he secured it through the proper structure. Okay, so look, where is the millions and millions that he has built? There is a huge gap. That is one thing. Second, you have returned to India. Why understanding the compliance requirement matters the most? If you are not reporting the foreign asset, if you forget to report the foreign income, then it might be treated as under reporting of the income or concealing your income, and there are hefty penalties. I mean, really, really high penalties. So when you become resident, you have to pay importance to that also. So either you are liquidating and bringing everything to India. Otherwise, if you have decided that yes, I am keeping my foot in two boats and I want to cross the river, then you should have proper structure, proper planning. Everything is strategically planned.
Ma'am, as you are making so many NRIs life very easy, I want to ask like what's the biggest financial shock NRI face when they return to India after years abroad?
Oh, I really don't think that financial shock anybody has suffered if they had done proper diversification and allocation. And how much you have to keep in physical asset or your financial asset, everything, the mix is proper, then financially they didn't suffer. But probably infrastructure, on getting stuck in the traffic and ease of anything. Let's say in Dubai, if I have to think that I have to get something done in this X government department, and they give an estimated time, you can complete this work at 45 minutes, I can get it done. I know that to reach to the department I need 1 hour, and to finish my work I need another 1 hour. 2 hour I'm done with the work. In India it will never happen, it will take your whole day. So this kind of cultural shock for us, right? So for any one single maybe small work, as you are spending entire day. And infrastructure is an issue because you got adjusted to that ease, right? Staying abroad as an NRI for many decades. So that is also, you have to be in a position to manage, plan everything. But financially, I don't think that they will suffer much.
And last, I want to ask a single question, ma'am. Like, what do you suggest? Like, if someone plans to go outside of India, should they go like Dubai or US?
Shubham, I think it depends on their specialization and where they are in career and what is their priority. For some people, making a lot of money, and some people work life balance. Let's say in Germany or in UK, people even they go for work life balance. So I recently had a call with the client who said that in Singapore or in India I can really earn at least 3x more than what I'm getting now, but I would still stay in UK because my job is strictly 9 to 5 and I need work life balance. So there is no one size fit all. But in Dubai, let's say, it's doing well in crypto, business, for nursing, teaching, even medical. If you are in these areas, then you can definitely look at Dubai. Dubai offers huge opportunities, huge growth aspects also. But if somebody is in tech, US still dominates that ecosystem, right? So unless and until you find that research and innovation outside US, it is not easy for a techie to find an alternative. Maybe he has the problem of H1B visa and all the disruption that you're seeing today, still it dominates. So what you want to be and where you want to be, which specialization, and the career choice.
Kirtanas, thank you for your valuable time. You help a lot of NRIs. Daily, you are making so many NRIs life very easy. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Shubham, for giving me an opportunity to share my perspectives to our fellow NRIs. Thank you so much.